Hello, everybody. Well, goodness me, it's Monday, and I'm saying welcome to the Peggy Mercer YouTube channel and Writing for Love and Maybe Money. And by now, you aspiring writers and you writers who just want to improve your writing game, by now you've been taking notes and you know what we're talking about. And on Monday, I'm going to continue where I left off last podcast, which was last Friday, March the 15th. And today is March the 18th, so that you can keep up with these and keep them in a row. And today we're going to be elaborating somewhat on creating scenes with your writing. To bring you up to date, if you're just joining me, we are talking about literary elements that go into a novel. A writer cannot just start writing and write something really pretty and call it a novel and get it published and stuff like that. Like we've said many times, you want to plan and format and structure. I've got a visitor right here, and I'm going to pick him up if he gets up in my lap, and that's Sugar, baby. Come here, Sugar. Anyway, we're talking about plot, and we were talking about the various elements that go into writing the plot for your novel so that you can move the novel forward. You can move this story. Every word, every scene has got to move this story forward. So now to move this story forward, we have a visit from Sugar, who just pounced me, and Sugar doesn't seem too happy to be up here, so bye-bye, Sugar baby. There's always something around here, and I can already tell you that I am loving this podcast and this video because I am hearing from aspiring writers and people who are tuning in with me, and they just love it. And they're asking me all kind of questions. One little girl was asking me how much jewelry I own. And I told her very truthfully, I think I've got 1,000 pieces of jewelry. And she was so thrilled, she wanted to know if she could come look at it. And I said, la me, I don't know when I'll be able to get it all out, child. So anyway, we've got all kind of things going on. But I was talking to you the other day about, I started the literary elements discussion, the teaching, talking about character development, and I gave you some really good ideas on how to develop your great characters. Then we talked about plot. What's happening in the story? What's this about? And that's what plot's all about. And then we're talking about writing scenes or showing or creating the action in the chapters, which is called scenes, that will move each chapter along and therefore the whole book to get it from where it starts over here. And we talked about that, and we'll go into that further also. Where it starts where it starts. It starts with an incident or a feeling or an emotion or a discovery or something. Then it moves along in what we call rise and action, goes to the peak of the climax, and then it falls into what we call fallen action, and that's the last part of the book. And then it, of course, is all summed up in a nice, tidy little confluence or summary. So what we have here is we have the discussion going on about creating scenes. Now, many of you have asked me how many scenes per chapter, or you have asked me, look, I need to know what I'm doing here, and to make it quite brief here, what you're doing is creating actions or interactions among the characters, or an action of the main character, interactions or events or happenings among the characters of the story. And you must decide, and I cannot tell you this enough, but you must format and structure the chapters and scenes out a little bit before you get started so that you will know quite well where this story's going. And I've heard so many writers say, oh, we don't want to control our characters. We just don't want to have any control over them. You must control them. Now, that's not to say that some of your characters will get out of control. They certainly will get out of control. They will surprise you. I just hope they don't shock you because nobody likes to be shocked. I don't want anything like my cousin Janice Smith has said when she was helping me put up curtains. I had some with horrible stripes. And she said, no, no, not those. They just jump at you, scare you when you walk by them. And she said, I don't want anything to jump out at me. And you know what? This is very true with reading, too. I've thought about what she said many times and laughed because I love her so much. But the truth of the matter is, I don't want a scene in a book unless it's a Stephen King or a Robin Cook or a Ed McBain. I don't want, if I want to read shocking scenes, of course I'll read Stephen King. That's what I'm after. But I know some people that are starting to write stories and books, and they've always wanted to write stories. And a few of my girlfriends and I read this other gal's stories, and it was just like one shock after another. So we couldn't finish it. We just gagged. We said, God, one shock after another. And that doesn't work. Now, the scenes are the interactions between the characters, or maybe a action or a narration from the main character that is going to be in charge of the point of view. The novel is written from the point of view of the main character, okay? Or it could be written in the third person, but it's discussing the doings or the happenings or the events in the story of this one person or this narrator. And now you may have a literary fiction novel like the kind that my buddy Janice Daughtry from over near Valdosta writes. She writes literary fiction, small literary books, and they're published by, I think last time I checked it was Baskerville maybe, or HarperCollins or somebody. I have another friend from Savannah, Rosemary Danielle, and she writes wonderful nonfiction memory style books about her lifetime, and her books are wonderful. And so that's one narrator. Now, Janice Daughtry over near Valdosta, she may have 5 or 10 characters, and what she does, how she treats this writing that she does, is she gives each character a voice. Now, I've done this before, and I really like this format. I really, really do, because each character has a voice, and the scene that's created in that character's chapter. And I've done this in a novel that's yet to be published, but I haven't tried to get it published yet, but maybe I will. But I've used different characters to narrate the scene, so that scene comes from that character's point of view. So who is your character that this scene is going to evolve from their point of view? You can ask yourself some of these questions before you get started. Now, as we know, the scenes that you create in here have got to move the story forward, depending on your pacing. Are you writing a psychological thriller when you watch those shows out in LA? And sometimes I just really get caught up in this guy running from the cops, driving a stolen vehicle. Maybe the stolen vehicle's got tools in it. Heaven forbid it's got an animal or a child in it or anything like that. But he's constantly turning the corner or going through somebody's yard or running into a mailbox or a house or something. So when you're writing your novel, you think, what kind of book am I writing? Am I writing a psychological thriller, a mystery, that type of story like Stephen King, where something's constantly happening and it's happening pretty fast. The car is running and it seems to be gobbling people up and whatever. But I write a more literary style, and I encourage you who are writing a more literary style to have a little bit of a slower paced writing. And so when you develop your scenes, you could have one or two scenes or 10 scenes. It depends on the pacing and it depends on what you're trying to do. Am I trying to show these two ladies strolling along the beach and they're both widows talking about their husbands in the past, and or am I trying to show children playing on a playground and the mother's waiting on them? Am I trying to show a couple off on the last trip that they will ever take in their life because maybe he has cancer and he's in dying mode or whatever? Or I'm trying to show a daughter and a mother running away to the beach for the last time that the mother will ever get to go because she's not expected to live too long. Am I showing a bank robber sitting outside of a bank trying to decide, look, am I going to go in and rob that bank or not? Whose point of view? So you have to decide before you start writing. Try to figure out who the characters are going to be that point of view is going to come from for these scenes in this chapter. Is it going to be the main character or several characters? Now, as you write this action, you're going to use your senses. Like I said in the other video, write sensually, not sexually. And my friend Jennifer Flynn was very excited about that, and she said, having been an English major, that she hadn't really ever thought about that, and that was interesting. Yes, it is interesting because we want to give the reader a sense of time and place. We want to say maybe she lifted the bouquet or the flower arrangement on the table and she really liked it because number one, it was blue, which was her favorite color. I just told you something about that character. Maybe it was pink, which she really liked because that was her dead daughter's favorite color. So you are going to unfold and tell the reader some things about your character. The scene is gonna, no matter how exciting or how fast-paced the scene is, tell me something about the character in that scene. Show me what that character is made of in the scenes as they develop. Show me what the outside influences are. Maybe they're sitting at a bar somewhere and some things happen to come along and you don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, don't shock me too bad because I just can't stand shock. All I want to do is I want the tone and mood of the book to be set, and I want the book to be moving forward. Now, someone asked me how many words to put in this scene. Put as many as you need. I would also then, when I write my next chapter and I create similar maybe numbers of scenes or trying to keep this thing under control as I go, your characters may do things that you hadn't planned on them doing, and that's okay. I just don't want any shock treatments in my novels because I'm a kind of a writer that likes to touch on people's emotions. I kind of really want people to become emotionally involved in my novels, and my beautiful doctor the other day, Miss Tara, she told me that she just loved reading Another Island, Another Moon, which you can get off of Amazon. It was a bestseller there. That was the first novel that I wrote in a trilogy set on the Georgia coast. And I want you to know that if a reader loves the book, it's because the writer loved the book. If the reader falls in love with this character who in this book was a man called Big Daddy, it was because the writer loved this person. If the reader really liked my two main characters, which are Mercedes and Lois Alana, it's because the writer loves this friend of hers like no other. Her name is actually Brenda, and I modeled this particular character as Mercedes' best friend. And they go through this novel talking about this guy that they both knew and loved. And it just turned out to be a wonderful book, and I hope you'll get it and read it and enjoy it. Now, I will be here again in a few days talking to you a little bit more about scenes, and I'm actually going to make a little sign with some things about scenes that you can stop and freeze the frame on this video, and you can turn this thing right around and print that out so that you can put that in your notebook. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have that printout, and I hope I'm getting a little bit better here with my with focusing my eyes. They say if you look a few inches over that you'll get your eyes to where they look like they're focusing on the people out there. I probably need some people standing in front of this music stand that I've got this video set up on. But anyway, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you won't miss anything. You have to hit the little bell over there. You have to get ready to take more notes because we're going to talk. Several of the videos are going to be all about creating scenes, and I'm going to teach you how to jumpstart these scenes and make them exciting and unfold them so that the reader's going to be so involved by the end of this chapter that he cannot put this book down. And isn't that a compliment that you might get for your great American novel that you're writing? So a little bit more on scenes on Friday. And meanwhile, have a great week.